Hey everyone, welcome back to the Checkered Sky channel where we dive into true crime stories. Today we're stepping into the heart of North Philadelphia, where a vibrant young woman's life was cut short in a case that shook a university and a city. This is the story of Jenna Burleigh, a 22-year-old Temple University student whose disappearance sparked a desperate search and revealed a darkness no one saw coming. It was August 31st, 2017, and Philadelphia was alive with the energy of a new school year. Jenna Burleigh, a junior transfer student studying film and media arts, was just settling into life at Temple University. She'd spent the evening of August 30th having dinner with her father, Ed Burleigh, in her hometown of Harleysville, about 30 miles from Philly. Jenna told her dad she planned to meet friends in the city and stay over, a typical night out for a college student. Ed dropped her off, unaware it would be the last time he'd see his daughter alive. By early Thursday morning, Jenna was at Pub Webb, a lively bar just steps from Temple's campus, where students gathered to unwind. Surveillance footage captured her there around 2 a.m., chatting and mingling. But something happened that night, something that turned a carefree outing into a true crime nightmare. By Friday, September 1st, Jenna hadn't returned home or shown up to class. Her father, Ed, grew worried. It wasn't like Jenna to go silent. She was close with her family and always checked in. Ed drove to Temple's campus, hoping to find her, but she was nowhere to be found. He reported her missing, and the Philadelphia police sprang into action, launching a missing persons investigation that would soon turn into something far more sinister. Detectives began piecing together Jenna's last known movements, starting with that fateful night at Pub Webb. Who was she with? Did she leave with someone? And what happened in those early morning hours that led to her vanishing? The police dug deeper, pulling surveillance footage and talking to witnesses. They learned Jenna had reached out to two friends around 1:30 a.m., sending a text, a voicemail, and an Instagram DM asking for help. But who was Jenna? Jenna Burleigh grew up in Harleysville, Pennsylvania, a small, tight-knit community in Montgomery County, about 30 miles from Philadelphia. Born in 1994, she was the daughter of Ed and Jacqueline Burleigh. Education was a big part of Jenna's journey. After graduating from high school, she enrolled at Montgomery County Community College, where she honed her creative talents. Jenna was drawn to storytelling, particularly through film and media arts, a field where she could blend her creativity with her passion for social change. In the summer of 2017, she took a bold step, transferring to Temple University as a junior to pursue a degree in film and media arts. It was a dream come true for the 22-year-old, who was thrilled to join Temple's vibrant urban campus. Her first week at Temple was supposed to be the start of a new chapter, filled with promise and possibility. One of Jenna's most enduring legacies was her work with the homeless. Inspired by a news report about blessing bags, backpacks filled with essentials like toiletries, clothing, and blankets, Jenna started her own project at 19. She called them Jenna's Blessing Bags, filling them with gently used goods and distributing them to those in need across Philadelphia. Her family joined her in the effort, and by the time she was at Temple, she'd given out around 100 bags. She really believed in equality, but the underdog is who she always fought for, her mother said. But Jenna wasn't all serious. She had a playful, sassy side too. She loved music, dancing, and spending time with her tight circle of friends. Her Positive Vibes Only t-shirt, worn the night she disappeared, was a perfect reflection of her outlook. Pub Webb, located at 1527 Cecil B. Moore Avenue, was a staple for Temple students in 2017. Just a block from campus, it was the kind of place where you'd find friends sharing pitchers of beer, playing pool, or dancing to a jukebox blaring pop hits. On Wednesday, August 30th, 2017, the bar was packed, alive with the energy of a new semester. Jenna blended into the crowd, her laughter and warmth drawing people in, as they always did. Her friends later told police she was in high spirits, excited about her first week at Temple as a junior transfer student. Jenna wasn't alone at Pub Webb, at least not at first. She'd met up with a group of friends, some from Temple, others from her wider social circle. They spent the evening talking, dancing, and soaking in the carefree vibe of a midweek night out. But as the hours ticked by, the group began to thin. One friend had an early class and left around midnight. Another caught a ride home with a classmate. By 1:30 a.m., most of Jenna's friends had drifted away, assuming she'd head out soon or crash at a friend's place nearby, as she often did. None of them could have known that their decision to leave would haunt them later. By Thursday morning, August 31st, Jenna's phone was silent. She wasn't responding to texts or calls, which was unlike her. Jenna was known for staying connected, often checking in with her family or friends, especially her sister Janelle, or her parents, Ed and Jacqueline. One of her friends, who'd expected to hear from her about plans for the day, grew uneasy. Meanwhile, Jenna didn't show up for her Thursday classes, a film and media arts seminar she'd been excited about. This was a red flag for a student who'd just started at Temple and was eager to dive into her major. Word spread among her friends, and by early afternoon, they were calling and texting, trying to piece together where she might be. Ed Burleigh, Jenna's father, was the first to sound the alarm. After dropping her off the night before, he hadn't heard from her, which he later told police was very unusual. On Thursday afternoon, Ed drove to Temple's campus, hoping to find her in class or with friends. When he learned she hadn't attended her seminar, his concern turned to panic. He contacted Temple University Police and Lower Salford Township Police, reporting Jenna missing around 5 p.m. that evening. Jenna's sister Janelle took to Facebook, posting a photo of Jenna with a plea for information. "If anyone has seen my sister, please call me or my dad." She included Ed's phone number, and the post quickly went viral, shared over 22,000 times by Friday morning. Jenna's brother was also seen on campus, hanging homemade missing flyers around Ritter Hall and other buildings, each one a desperate call for answers. The consequences of Jenna's disappearance rippled through Temple's community. The Temple student government issued a statement describing her as big-hearted and unapologetically herself, urging anyone with information to come forward. The police response was swift but methodical. Temple University Police took the lead initially, given Jenna's status as a student and her last known location near campus. They partnered with Philadelphia Police and Lower Salford Township Police, forming a multi-agency effort to trace her steps. Their first stop was Pub Webb, where Jenna was last seen. Detectives interviewed bartenders and regulars, asking about her behavior, who she was with, and whether anyone noticed anything unusual. The bar's manager provided access to surveillance footage, which became a critical piece of the puzzle. The 2 a.m. clip of Jenna leaving with a man gave police a starting point, though his identity remained unclear. From Pub Webb, the investigation fanned out. Police canvassed Cecil B. Moore Avenue, knocking on doors and talking to residents. They asked about anything suspicious: a strange car, an argument, or that chilling scream reported around 2:30 a.m. by a neighbor on the 1700 block of North 16th Street. The 911 call described a horror movie scream, only more real, but when Temple police arrived, the street was silent. Still, that scream haunted investigators, suggesting something violent had occurred nearby. They mapped the area, noting its proximity to Pub Webb, just a block away, and began to suspect Jenna hadn't gone far. On Friday, September 1st, the search intensified. Philadelphia Police's homicide unit joined the effort, a sign that investigators feared the worst. The FBI was also consulted, given the possibility of a crime crossing state lines. Police returned to Pub Webb's footage, analyzing every frame for clues about the man with Jenna. They interviewed her friends, trying to reconstruct the night. Who was in her group? Had she mentioned meeting anyone new? Her friends were devastated, grappling with guilt for leaving her at the bar. They told police Jenna seemed fine when they left, with no signs of distress. Detectives also spoke to Jenna's family, asking about her habits, relationships, and whether she'd ever felt unsafe. Ed and Jacqueline described her as cautious but trusting, with no known enemies or conflicts. A breakthrough came late Friday when a resident of an apartment on the 1700 block of North 16th Street contacted police. When he woke up around 1 p.m., he found cleaning supplies scattered and blood on the floor, as if someone had tried to scrub it off. Following that tip, police obtained a search warrant for an apartment located a block away from the Pub Webb. Inside, they found what the resident described: blood stains, cleaning supplies, and other evidence suggesting a violent incident. The discovery shifted the case from a missing person investigation to a potential homicide. Whose apartment was it? Who had access? The police were tight-lipped, but the search warrant marked a turning point, focusing their attention on a specific location and a growing list of questions. Police traced a trail from the North 16th Street apartment to a home in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, about 10 miles north of Philadelphia. Why Jenkintown? What connected it to Jenna's disappearance? Detectives were following leads about a vehicle and possible witnesses, but details were scarce. From Jenkintown, the trail led even farther, 140 miles north to Paupack Township in Wayne County, a rural area near the Pocono Mountains. This multi-jurisdictional search was unusual for a missing person case, suggesting police had uncovered something significant. The breakthrough came on Saturday afternoon, September 2nd, and it was as grim as it was unexpected. A man named George Stabilito, doing routine maintenance on a property owned by his estranged wife in Paupack Township, opened a shed on the lakefront lot. Inside, he found a blue plastic storage bin, heavy and out of place. Curious, he looked inside and made a horrifying discovery. The body of a young woman, later confirmed to be Jenna Burleigh, was stuffed inside, her life extinguished by what the Wayne County coroner would later rule as blunt trauma and strangulation. Stabilito immediately contacted Pennsylvania State Police, who secured the scene. The Paupack Township property belonged to the grandmother of a man police were already questioning, a 29-year-old former Temple student with a criminal history. His name was Joshua Hupperters, and he'd been on the police's radar since Friday, September 1st, when Temple police spoke to him by phone. Hupperters informed the detective that he had been so drunk when he left the bar, he had no recollection of who he had been with, Philadelphia police stated, but they weren't buying it. Detectives arrested Hupperters hours before Jenna's body was discovered. How did the police connect the dots from North Philadelphia to Wayne County? It started with that North 16th Street apartment. On Friday, Hupperters' roommate, Jack Miley, woke up and noticed something off. Cleaning products scattered around and what looked like blood on the floor, as if someone had tried to scrub it away. Miley called police, and when detectives arrived, they found more than just blood. They uncovered a stash of marijuana valued at $20,000, suggesting Hupperters was involved in more than just a violent crime. The blood, later matched to Jenna, was splattered across the kitchen, on a futon, and even on gauze and toilet paper, painting a picture of a brutal struggle. This evidence prompted police to widen their search, following leads about a vehicle linked to Hupperters that had been seen in Jenkintown at his mother's home on Cloverly Lane. The Jenkintown connection was crucial. Police learned that Hupperters had moved the storage bin containing Jenna's body from his apartment to his mother's home, where it remained overnight. Hupperters then used a Lyft car service to transport the bin to his grandmother's property in Wayne County, a detail that shocked investigators and the public alike. The Lyft driver, likely unaware of the bin's contents, became an unwitting participant in the cover-up. Police processed a vehicle with a Lyft sticker on Saturday afternoon, confirming the route from Jenkintown to Paupack Township. This bizarre method of transportation raised questions about Hupperters' state of mind. Was he panicking, or was this a calculated attempt to hide his crime? As police pieced together this trail, they also explored the possibility of other suspects. Hupperters' roommate, Jack Miley, was a person of interest early on, given his presence in the apartment and his call to police about the blood. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Ross noted, "We have the one suspect in custody, but we are looking to see if anyone else is involved," emphasizing that Miley's role was unclear. Detectives interviewed Miley, who was in New York on a family vacation when he learned of Jenna's disappearance. On September 1st, at the request of Temple Police, Miley called Hupperters, who claimed he was in North Carolina, a lie, as he was already in Wayne County. Miley later texted a friend, "I honestly don't know what to expect from this kid at this point," suggesting he was uneasy about Hupperters' behavior. Witness interviews painted a complex picture. Jenna's friends, devastated by her death, provided critical details about her final hours. Thursday, Jenna had reached out to two friends for help. About 30 minutes before Pub Webb closed, she called a childhood friend who'd been at the bar earlier but left to get food. He missed the call, and Jenna left a voicemail. She also sent a text and an Instagram direct message to another friend, both asking for help. The exact reason for her pleas, whether she felt unsafe or something else, remains unclear, but these messages added a layer of tragedy, showing Jenna sensed something was wrong. Her friends, racked with guilt, told police she'd been in good spirits earlier, with no indication she knew the man she left with. Neighbors of Hupperters provided chilling accounts. A Temple graduate student living above his apartment testified at a preliminary hearing, recalling a scream around 2:30 a.m. on August 31st, just minutes after surveillance showed Jenna and Hupperters entering the apartment. She described it as, like a horror movie scream, only more real, not something I will ever forget, and called Temple Police directly. Officers arrived, stayed for 15 minutes, looked outside, and left after finding nothing, a decision later scrutinized. Another neighbor, Natalie Abulhawa, told reporters that she had known Hupperters for a year and found him persistent, often inviting her to his place. She recalled a night when she nearly went to his apartment alone, but backed out, a choice that haunted her when she learned he was the suspect. "My thoughts were all over the place because I just spent a year saying hey to this guy," she said. The arrest of Joshua Hupperters was a coordinated effort. Investigators noted scratches on his face and neck, plus a deep cut on his hand requiring stitches. Hupperters claimed the scratches were from rough sex earlier that week and the cut from a broken bowl, but police were skeptical, especially after finding blood in his apartment. Physical evidence solidified Hupperters' arrest. The blood in his apartment, matched to Jenna via DNA, was found in multiple locations: kitchen floor, futon, clothing, and more, indicating a violent struggle. A crime scene investigator testified in 2019 that blood drops were splattered all over, particularly in the kitchen where prosecutors believe Jenna was killed. Police also found a knife in the apartment, later alleged to have been used in the attack, though Hupperters claimed Jenna wielded it first. The storage bin, moved via lift, was another damning clue, with Jenna's DNA inside, confirmed by forensic tests. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Ross, reflecting on the case, said, "This really strikes home for you, particularly thinking about the heartache and the grief that those parents must be going through right now." The discovery and arrest sent shockwaves through Temple's community. Students held vigils, grappling with the loss of a classmate they described as a bundle of fun. Meanwhile, questions lingered. Why did Jenna go with Hupperters? Was the scream a missed chance to save her? And what drove this former student to commit such a heinous act? The Wayne County discovery wasn't just the end of the search, it was the beginning of a quest for justice. Hupperters, charged with murder, abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and possession of an instrument of a crime, was held without bail at Curran-Fromhold Correctional Facility. Now, we're diving into the man behind the crime, Hupperters himself. Who was he? What drove him to commit such a brutal murder? What did he say when faced with the evidence? And how did the autopsy results shape the case? Plus, we'll explore the lawsuit Jenna's parents filed against Pub Webb and what came of it. Joshua Hupperters was 29 years old at the time of Jenna's murder, a former Temple University student who'd last taken classes in spring 2017. Born in 1988, he grew up in Jenkintown, a quiet suburb 10 miles north of Philadelphia, raised by his mother, Jenna Hupperters, and her partner, Robert Hagler. Little is publicly known about his early life, but court records and witness accounts paint a picture of a man with a troubled streak. Hupperters studied at Temple but never graduated, leaving behind a reputation as a partygoer and small-time weed dealer. Hupperters liked to project success. He told Temple students he'd interned at Ogilvy and Mather, a prestigious New York ad agency, but a receptionist there found no record of him. This knack for exaggeration hinted at a man who craved status but struggled to achieve it. His criminal history was minor before 2017. Court records show a 2016 guilty plea for disorderly conduct in Montgomery County, but nothing foreshadowed the violence he'd unleash. Friends described him as charismatic yet off-putting, someone who could charm but also unsettle. "Every encounter, I kind of had a bad feeling," Abelhawa said, noting an instinct to avoid him. His roommate, Jack Miley, painted a similar picture, testifying that Hupperters was a heavy drinker and drug user, often erratic but not overtly dangerous, until that fateful night. After his arrest on September 2, 2017, Hupperters' statements to police were evasive and contradictory. Most audaciously, he pointed the finger at Miley, claiming his roommate killed Jenna while he only helped cover it up. Philadelphia Police Captain John Ryan noted Hupperters admitted to elements of the crime, but he stopped short of a full confession, maintaining his innocence on the murder charge. During interrogation, Hupperters' story unraveled. DNA evidence, Jenna's blood on his kitchen floor, futon, clothing, and a knife, tied him directly to the crime scene. The autopsy results, conducted by the Wayne County Coroner's Office, were harrowing. Jenna died from strangulation and blunt force trauma, with prosecutors later specifying she was punched 38 times, stabbed, and choked for 3 minutes. Jenna's parents, Edward and Jacqueline Burleigh, weren't just grieving, they were fighting for accountability. On August 20, 2019, they filed a wrongful death lawsuit. The lawsuit targeted Pub Webb's role in the tragedy, accusing the bar of violating Pennsylvania's Dram Shop Act, a law that holds establishments accountable for over-serving alcohol to visibly intoxicated patrons. The lawsuit laid out a chilling picture. Bar staff served excessive alcohol to both Jenna and her killer, ignoring clear signs they were drunk. In just 2 hours, the suspect downed 9 shots of liquor, enough to fuel a violent outburst. Jenna's blood alcohol content was 0.24, 3 times the legal limit, leaving her unable to defend herself or escape. The Burleighs argued this reckless overserving was a major factor in the brutal murder that followed.
The evidence in this case is going to show that Joshua Hupperters was at Pub Webb for a little bit more than 2 hours. And by the testimony of Pub Webb's own owner and employees, was served at a minimum 9 shots, well in excess of what responsible service would be.
The trial of Joshua Hupperters began on January 8, 2019. It was a high-profile case, drawing media attention and packing the courtroom with Jenna's family, friends, and Temple students. Over 8 days, the trial unfolded as a battle of narratives, with prosecutors building a meticulous case and the defense resorting to a bold, controversial strategy. The prosecution, led by Assistant District Attorneys Jason Grinnell and Danielle Berkovage, argued that Hupperters committed first-degree murder with deliberate intent. They presented a chilling timeline. Jenna and Hupperters met at Pub Webb around 1:38 a.m. on August 31, 2017, left together at 2 a.m., and entered his North 16th Street apartment by 2:11 a.m., per security footage. There, what began as consensual sex turned violent when Jenna refused a specific sexual act. She was killed because she had the audacity to say no, Grinnell told jurors, detailing how Hupperters beat her 38 times, stabbed her, and strangled her for 3 minutes. DNA under Jenna's fingernails and on a knife matched Hupperter's, and her blood was found splattered across his apartment. Grinnell's closing argument was searing. He showed jurors a photo of Jenna's body crammed into the blue storage bin, emphasizing Hupperter's callousness. "He treated a human body like trash," Grinnell said. The defense, led by attorney David Nenner, took a risky approach, pinning the murder on Hupperter's roommate, Jack Miley, a 2017 Temple kinesiology graduate. Hupperter's had pleaded guilty to abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence on January 8, admitting he moved Jenna's body but denied killing her. Nenner argued Miley, intoxicated from 12 to 15 beers, 6 shots, marijuana, and Xanax, stumbled upstairs and strangled Jenna to defend Hupperter's during a fight. "Jack Miley is the key to this case," Nenner declared in closing arguments, claiming the evidence against Hupperter's was pure speculation. The defense's strategy crumbled. Miley testified he was passed out during the murder, waking at 1 p.m. to find Hupperter's cleaning blood, which Hupperter's claimed was from a fall into a pricker bush. Forensic analyst Benjamin Levin confirmed no trace of Miley's DNA on Jenna or in the apartment's blood samples, only Hupperter's DNA. Hupperter's waived his right to testify on January 16, a move Nenner later admitted weakened their case. Ed and Jacqueline, joined by Jenna's sister Janelle and friends, delivered victim impact statements before sentencing. Jenna was a loving, caring, compassionate, sassy, passionate person who was unapologetically herself, Jacqueline said, clutching rosary beads. All she wanted was peace in this world. Ed, voice cracking, called Jenna "my sunshine," with a beautiful soul, highlighting her Jenna's Blessing Bags Foundation, which has distributed over 800 care packages to the homeless. On January 17, 2019, after just 80 minutes of deliberation, the jury convicted Hupperter's on all counts: first-degree murder, possession of an instrument of a crime, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with evidence. Judge Bronson sentenced him to life without parole, plus 4.5 to 9 years for the lesser charges, calling the crime outrageous, depraved, and terrible. The Pub Webb lawsuit, filed in August 2019, alleged negligence under Pennsylvania's Dram Shop Act, but its status is unclear, likely settled privately. This case leaves us with a haunting question. How do we protect the Jennas of the world, those who shine brightly, only to be extinguished by senseless violence? Her story is a call to action for safer campuses, responsible businesses, and a society that values compassion over cruelty. That's it for our series on Jenna Burleigh's story. Thank you for joining us on this journey through a case that's touched so many. If this story moved you, please subscribe to Checkered Sky, hit the bell, and share this video to honor Jenna's memory. Leave a comment, tell us what struck you most, or suggest another true crime case you'd like us to cover. For updates on Jenna's blessing bags or to support the foundation, check the links in the description. After her death, the Burleighs turned this project into a foundation, raising over $50,000 and distributing nearly 1,000 bags in her memory, from Philadelphia to as far as Canada. Jenna's heart for others left a mark that endures to this day. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep seeking justice. See you soon.